talking about all the forms of family, blended family, polygamous family. We have even gone to the extent of talking about how we have missed it as parents. We have treated parenting. We have brought our children to the platform to tell us what their expectations are. We have treated topics where it's a very important topic that the society ignores, and that is the upbringing of the boy child. And we have all seen how this has affected our society. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity and for the grace to be able to do this. Like you know, in Praise Forward International, we are trying to pull everybody together, raising a community where we live in peace and harmony, where our society turned out to live in peace. And this we have been able to do. One of the goals also was to be able to bring our children on board, to be able to pull our children along, not to say that the things your parents are listening to, they should also know that we have some expectations from them. And this we have also been able to achieve. Presently, we are running a class, a free class. We started on the first Saturday in November, a free class for our children ranging from ages 8 to 18. We call it Ready for Life, preparing them for life. And in that class, we have about 378 children. And this afternoon, we are going to have another session of that. Today is the third Saturday we started this, and we're going to round it up next week, Saturday. So this is a great joy for us at the center, and we are happy, we are glad that you are one of the beautiful family that is opportuned to go along with us on this journey. So I'm still waiting to see. I want you to drop where you're joining in from, your name and where you're joining in from. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have our speaker in the house, the person of Zurel Olowe. So before I introduce her, before I talk about what we want to discuss today, I will also appreciate if you can have feedback of what family meeting has done for you so far, what you have achieved in family meeting. Thank you for joining. We have Walter Samuel in the house. We have Efe Osa, Ija. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining. We have Olubumi Obafemi, we have Musumola Ayayo, Bumi Bajomo. Bumi Bajomo joined very early. In fact, she joined around, I think she joined around 8:45 or something. She joined very early. We have Dada Dorcas. Thank you for joining in, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, we have people joining in. Desola from Lagos, Dada Dorcas from Lagos. Thank you. Becky from Otsa. Thank you for joining in. Thank you so much. Okay, so just like I was explaining what family meeting is meant for, family meeting is a group of people coming together to form a village. And while we have treated so many topics, we have also scratched different surfaces that hurt. We have scratched because we have people call into the office to book counseling session to say that topic we discussed, it's affected me so much. And in fact, it made me lose my grip to life. And I felt that's the end. And we have been able to help quite a number of people through counseling to achieve this. And this is one of the reasons why we are treating this topic today, the topic of forgiveness, saying that because part of the people that we have been able to talk to are people suffering from domestic violence, emotional abuse, different kinds of abuse that has left them with unforgiveness, left them with pain. And if you saw one of my posts, I said forgiveness is not so easy. But the truth of the matter is it is eating us up, it is consuming us, it's affecting our physical and mental health. And there's a need to talk about it. And this is why I have brought no other person that can handle this topic for me than Zurel. Zurel Oluwabukun Ola Olowe. She is a lawyer, an emotional intelligence specialist, a play therapist, personal enhancement push coach, addiction recovery educator, team bonding facilitator, Own Your Essence coach, and a member of the Faculty of Family System Engineering and Development. Like you all know, we bring people from our community because we want people that will be able to treat this topic the way we want it treated in our village, because they have the fundamental understanding of the approach we use to raise our family. And that is why we have Zurel here. Zurel is a healing educator, and she is going to be responding to our questions. I want you to ask your questions in the chat box. And if you want to raise your hand to talk, please feel free to do that. Good morning, Zurel. Nice having you here.
Awesome morning. Amazing morning, blessed morning to everyone. It's a privilege to be here this morning. I do not take it for granted. I honor everyone that is here. I celebrate everyone that is here. But most importantly, I honor those who are going through the journey of, who have either started their forgiveness journey or who are still stuck in their place of unforgiveness. Now, this is what I'm going to say to you. Every emotion is valid. Not wanting to forgive that person that has hurt you is valid, because you are the one that knows how the deep hurt of whatever that person did to you has affected you. So every emotion is valid. However, you are important to yourself. You are valuable to yourself. You are too amazing to yourself to be stressed by someone else. You are too amazing to yourself to allow someone else determine your emotions, determine your stability, and determine your mental harmony. So thank you so much, everyone. And I'm here to deliver to my best capacity and best ability. Thank you.
Whoa, thank you so much, Zurel. Thank you I like the way you start. I like the way you started it. And that's a powerful one. Guys, we are in for another beautiful experience this morning. Please feel free. Remember, we are family, and confidentiality is we always say it. And this is the community where you can say it without being judged, because we understand that we all are going through, and we all have gone through a form of discomfort, form of pain and trauma or the other. And so you need to open up. This is the best place. This is the right place to be, to ask your question and get the right response. You don't want to take it to the social media where they tell you different story, where they tell you, in fact, people that are advising you, they are going through worse, and they are the ones that want to give advice. So I want you to make good use of this opportunity by responding and by dropping your question. Ask your questions. Please feel free to ask your question. It's a good place, and like I said, it's a beautiful morning. We don't want to carry on this pain into 2022, and this is the best time to put a stop to it. This is the best time to start our healing. Zurel is going to take us through a healing session 2, and I want us to be prepared. I want you to be prepared. When the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is in it, and I don't want you to abuse this privilege. I want you to make good use of this privilege. And I also have Walter Samuel in the house. Walter is also a good person. He also has a good grip on forgiveness. And so Zurel is our main speaker, but along the line, I might be calling in Walter to also respond to a few questions. Okay, so Zurel, I want to start with you. So when you were responding to the introduction and greetings, you said something about nobody's entitled to put you or lock you up in a corner. You're not supposed to give the power to anybody. Zurel, what is forgiveness? What is forgiveness? Thank you.
Okay, so forgiveness, like I would always say to people, forgiveness is first and foremost for you, not for that person who hurt you, not for the person who caused you trauma. Yes, there is the aspect of a cause and there's an aspect of an effect. However, if you look at yourself and you understand your own personal dynamics, and you know that you want to be at a place of bliss, at a place of peace, where you do not want an individual to control your emotions, where someone who has hurt you for the past 5 years, for the past 10 years, or even just yesterday, and who is not around you, yet every time you think of this incident, every time you think of this pain, you shut down. Either you shut down emotionally, you shut down physically, or you just shut down mentally. Forgiveness is a journey you intentionally and deliberately go on as an individual for your own personal experience to consciously shell out, peel out the layer of pain, the layer of hurt, bit by bit, till you get to the point of where the pain really happened and you begin to experience wholesomeness, or you become whole, or like I would always say, you begin to hone your essence. When forgiveness is not experienced, it is impossible for you to lose yourself from the old, from the bondage. When forgiveness is not entered into, then it becomes impossible for you to live absolutely the way you want to enjoy your life. It just simply means that you have given your totality, you have given your essence without the permission, without the other person who has hurt you taking permission from you, obtaining permission from you to give that person your life to hold onto. Now, it's not an easy journey. It's not an easy journey. Sometimes it's not a journey you go on to for a day. Sometimes it's not a journey you go on to for 5 years. So like I said to people, forgiveness is personal. First and foremost, you need to understand what it is. You need to understand why you need it. And you also need to understand the breath, the fresh air, the rejuvenation, the harmony it brings to you, the bliss it brings to you. Then you need to prioritize yourself, because it is you that is important. It is you that is very important, as heavy and as weighty as whoever the damage or the pain the person who has hurt you has done to you. You need to place yourself above the radar of what has happened to you. So forgiveness basically is your conscious awareness of why you need to experience wholeness, and why you need to shed the pain, the hold, the traumatic events, the remembrance. Now you will remember. It is not as if you're going to forget. You remember the pain, you remember what that person has done to you. But when you remember it, how do you feel? If you remember an event that has been done to you and you are not shutting down, and you're not swearing for the person in your mind, like, so somebody does something to you and you remember you're saying God punish that person. Will you never see good in your life? And all of a sudden you move from the place of peace to the place of rage and war. Then you know that definitely you are still holding to that pain and you have not forgiven. You are most likely not started your forgiveness journey, or you are on that journey and you have not gotten to your threshold.
Wow. Wow. That was deep. That was deep. Thank you, Zurel. That was deep. You know, when we started and we decided on this topic, I was asking myself, what is really forgiveness? Because I usually tell myself I don't hold anybody at cards. So it's as if I did not really understand what forgiveness or how can somebody offend me and I will hold the person. But you see, when you were talking now, I was just writing, saying that how do you feel when you remember a certain situation or you remember what somebody did to you? And that feeling, that means there's a pain. That means there is something. And these are the things that lead to, and so that experience of when you hear that person's name, when you remember that thing, it seems fresh, it comes fresh. And that is, so a lot of us are going through post-trauma syndrome, post-trauma deficiency syndrome, that's PTSD that we do not even realize. And this is why we are not, like Zuriel just said, we are not owing our essence. It is cutting us short. It is affecting our productivity. And we are not even aware of it. Thank you so much, Zuriel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Zuriel, are you saying that forgiveness is a feeling or it's a choice? Is it a feeling or a choice?
Forgiveness is both a feeling and is both a choice. Now, I would also say that, now this is where my own caveat comes in. Forgiveness is mandatory. Because over the years, researchers researchers or scientists have been able to prove that one of the core reasons or one of the core causes of cancer is, one of them is unforgiveness. One of them is bitterness, because you know that when you are dealing with unforgiveness, it means that you still have bitterness in your mind. When you're dealing with unforgiveness, it means that you are at a place where anything can trigger you. Anything can control your emotions. It just simply means that you are yet to master and understand your emotions, and you are yet to master and understand your response. Now, do not get me wrong. There are things people would do to you, and honestly, your reasons for not wanting to forgive them is very valid. So an example is someone comes to sexually violate your 2-year-old daughter, or someone comes to sexually violate your 8-month-old daughter, like what I was, a case at hand right now. Or someone murders a friend or a colleague or a sibling, and you now go and meet that person, you're telling the person, forgive. It's not easy, because what that person has done, the person has practically taken a part of that individual away from that person. Not just hurting the individual that they hurt, maybe an 8-month-old baby, or the person that they killed. No, you have also shut down the life of the people who are connected to this person. So forgiveness is first and foremost a feeling, that it becomes something you need to experience, then it becomes a choice, then it becomes mandatory. So it is, and that's why I say that forgiveness is a process. It is a journey. So when you go meet people and you are telling people, forgive, what is wrong with you? Forgive. So if you're a Christian, you're saying, after all, Jesus Christ forgave. If you're a Muslim, you're saying, after all, the hadith says you need to forgive. If you're of any other religion, you're saying forgiveness is divine. To err is human, to forgive is divine. But you hear people say to you, I am not divine, I am human. I am not God, I am human. You do not understand what I've gone through. So when you're speaking forgiveness to people, you must first and foremost understand what they are going through. You must be able to understand the pain that they have experienced. You must be able to understand where they are coming from. You must be able to understand where they are currently with that pain. When you understand these dynamics for them, then you would know where you are bringing in forgiveness as a weapon of release, as a tool of release, as a tool of encouragement, as a tool for them to detach themselves from the unconscious hold of the person who has hurt them. So I can't throw forgiveness straight to you as, no, it has to be a choice. So the person must first understand what is forgiveness. And I must first ask you, are you willing to forgive? Because I also need to respect, you also need to respect that person's emotions also. But yes, forgiveness can be a feeling, it can be a feeling, it can be a choice. But the ultimate goal for forgiveness is where it becomes mandatory for you to give out. Because for you, you need to also understand that if you do not forgive, you're consciously killing yourself by yourself, on your own self, even though it is on the terms of someone else that has caused the damage for you or caused the trauma for you.
Thank you, Zurel. Thank you, Zurel. The truth is, I'm becoming so emotional right now. When you brought in that aspect of ill health, the extent to which forgiveness can go, it can cause ill health. So Zurel, like I said when I was introducing the meeting, people here are family members, wives, husbands, and there are situations where we have seen a lot of situations where the wife just died. The wife dies, and we later hear issues like, oh, she's been having issues in her marriage, and she's been bottling it up, she's been keeping it, a lot of things. And this is family. We want to talk about forgiveness in the family. How can you forgive somebody that despised you? Somebody that hurts you so much? In fact, the only reason why a lot of women or a lot of men are in the marriage is because of their children. So they're just living life by and by. What do you have to say about this? Thank you.
Morning, sir. I have it for you. Jesus loves you. He doesn't want to.
Can we mute this person? Okay, so thank you. So this is how I would, let me start with something. So, can you see this?
Yes, you can. That's mistakes.
Mistakes. Now, this is the bone of contention. This is the foundation. In marriage, this is the foundation. Now, one of the biggest errors in marriage or in relationship generally is people get to a point in relationship, in marriage, and they unconsciously make their spouse a demigod. They unconsciously take them from the place of human to the place of this person is a saint and this individual cannot commit any error. When you understand the three dynamics that forms a human being, that wires us, that engineers us, that you would know that your spouse is coming from a place where he or she has diverse baggages. Some of the baggages you are aware of. Some of those baggages you would never know, because sometimes your spouse is ashamed of those baggages. It is not a baggage they want to say to you. It is not a baggage they want to let out. It's a baggage they have consciously, deliberately, intentionally over the years buried down. So let me give an analysis. So can we see this?
Yeah.
Yes, it's like a ball, a tiny ball, a very tiny ball. So your spouse is coming from a place where the first thing that ever happened to him or her in his life or in her life was a damage that happened. And this was the first damage. Now, rather than his parent or her parents dealing with this damage, or your spouse dealing with this damage, what they did was they buried this damage. They buried it, swept it under the carpet. That tiny damage, this tiny damage, another damage happened or occurred to it, and it became this big. Even though it is tiny, it was buried. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see the ball? No.
No.
What happened again? Swept under the carpet. This damage or this pain, the experiences this person had, became this. What happened again? Buried it. Can you see anything? No. From there, it became this. Can you see something? Can you see underneath my hand?
Just
It
a
is
little.
dripping. Yes, it's dripping a bit. It's dripping a bit. It eventually became this that can no longer be covered. You can't cover it anymore with your 2 hands. It is out. So this is what the adults that you think you married, who as a child was broken, was damaged, grew from a process. Remember, I've had different kind of balls in between before he got here. So when this person got married, found the freedom he or she desired, got the expectation they wanted, feels that they have gotten to where they want peace. Now, every damage they've experienced in their life started emitting here in their marriage. For some people, they were trained to keep quiet. For some people, what they saw in the home, this is the final bus stop. So it is emitting in marriage. And this is where people do not realize that mistakes will happen. When mistakes happen, not becoming aware of that mistakes and understanding how to deal with the mistakes will take away understanding of what has happened to you or what is happening in the marriage. So everything that has happened, your spouse is coming from a place, you are also coming from a place. The difference is that your dynamics are different. A young boy who grew up in a home, who saw his father drinking, becoming a drunkard for the 28 years of his life, and he also started drinking at a very tender age, and he became a drunkard. He's getting drunk, coming home every day, and you now think you want to stop him from drinking. This is a man who has been drinking. He sits down with the father to drink. Or a lady who saw the mom always insulting the father. That the only way the mom would communicate to the father is to insult the father. Or a man who saw the mom, his own father, bringing diverse women. And he has lived this life. He has lived this kind of life for 28, 30 years of his life, and he's married to you. And under 1 year, you expect him to stop when he did not meet an intervention. When he did not meet any change, there was an intervention for him. He didn't get to any threshold for him to break down. And you expect that he would stop. It's impossible for him to stop until he gets to this place of awareness and understands the damage, his acts and actions, or our acts and actions are causing in the marriage. But for that other spouse, one thing that other spouse needs to understand is you also need to get to the point where you understand where your spouse is coming from. Because the fun of the marriage, the bliss of the marriage, the honeymoon will end. Reality will start. So when an individual is keeping quiet in marriage, my question is, was this person wired to keep quiet? Or was this person told, do not allow a third party to come in? Or how was this person engineered at home, growing up, to feel that I should take damage, I should take trauma? It is part of the suffering I must endure in marriage. So let me give you an example. Last year, someone reached out to me. A lady reached out to me and she had already become suicidal. And the only thing I could tell her at that point was, please move out of your home for now, so that you can get your sanity. Before we even do anything, just move out of your home. The sister called me. I told the sister, pull her out of the house. The mom called me. I told the mom, pull her out of the house. But they were giving me dynamics of religion. And I said, pull out your daughter. I am scared for your daughter. I don't know why, but I am scared for your daughter. I'm having this intuition about your
Okay, I think we lost Zurel, or was that me? Can you hear me, please?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, that means it's a network. Please let's hold in there. Okay, she's joining back.
Sorry for that, my laptop just shut down. So I said, I don't know why, but I'm having this intuition about your daughter, take her out. I was in a session one afternoon when the sister was calling me persistently, and I had to stop the session to pick her call. And she just said, my sister just took sniper. Please pray along with us. And honestly, I shut down. I shut down, I could not pray. I could not pray because when she said my sister just took sniper, please pray along with us. I did not get the feelings to pray, and I didn't get the feelings of life coming up. After the session, I called her repeatedly. She did not pick. When she did not pick my call, I knew something had happened. When she actually called me and I heard her crying, she said my sister has passed. She did not make it. And she was about
Guys, it's getting deep here. Yeah.
Yeah, she said we should pull her out. You said we should pull out of the marriage. You said we should pull her out of the marriage. You told us. And I said, let's not go there. That is not what we are dealing with now. Let us deal with the external factors. The mother she has left, the children she has left behind. Those are the factors we need to deal with. So in essence, my question, the only question I asked myself that day was, who taught humans, who taught us that you need to stay in a place of pain till you die? That suffering is what you need to build up where you are. Because from the first challenge, from the first pain, and because we are wired different, and I think people need to understand themselves. We are wired differently. Some people are wired sick. Some people are sick. So when you insult them for money tonight, it will not affect them. It will not penetrate them. Some people are not wired like that to take insult. Some people are not wired. For some people, once you tell them shut up, they shut down immediately. So as an individual, you need to first and foremost understand yourself and know how much you can take, and know when you know that people's actions are shutting you down or affecting you. Before you even start forgiveness, you even need to understand yourself. At what point am I shutting down? At what point is this person's actions making me to shut down that is affecting me emotionally? It's taking away my emotional bliss. It's taking away my mental harmony. And you do not want separation. You do not want divorce. So you need to begin to work on that aspect of pain so that you can first and foremost forgive yourself. Because for some people, the biggest damage for them is that they allowed it. So forgiveness for some people starts with you forgiving yourself. That you even allowed it. You allowed this person to treat you badly. You allowed this person to damage your essence before you can even start a journey of people forgiving that person. So the forgiveness is not just, oh, how does a spouse start forgiving the family? It's for you to first, as a wife or a husband starts forgiving their spouse. The first thing is even forgiving yourself or even coming to your space. Then you start the journey of forgiving the spouse. But you also need to understand that it also has to do with the weight of what that person has done. But is everything forgivable? Is everything forgivable? Yes, everything is forgivable. And everything work can start to rejuvenate the relationship again, to rejuvenate the marriage again. But I know maybe somebody will ask, what about if he rapes our daughter? What about if the husband is a child sexual molester? What about if he rapes, is the father that is abusing the children? That honestly is a huge ball game. But for the sake of your daughter, whatever decision you now want to do after forgiveness, that is yours. But for the sake of that child, so that you're at a place of peace to even walk with the child, you need to go on that forgiveness journey.
Thank you, Zuriel. Thank you, Zuriel. You touched on something very, 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 very sensitive and very, very important, which we have also mentioned at some point at the course of the family meeting in the year. And that was, that's the upbringing, the place of upbringing, how that you are hot. You had an experience, it was small and it was swept under the carpet. It was not dealt with. And this thing increases by the day. Anger, the pain increases by the day, to the point where it cannot be curtailed. And the person starts, yeah.
Please let me pull up the blinds. PHCN has done issue. Let me pull up the blinds, please.
All right. So I was saying that, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
We can hear you. That's the main important thing.
Okay.
Yeah, saying that over time, the significant emotional experiences we have gone through in life builds like a pent-up anger in us. And so pressure is the revealer. And so these are the mistakes that comes in. And this is where awareness comes in. When you're getting married, of course, majority of us here are already married. So we are in this already. But you see, we can still understand this. We can still go in that direction, because I have heard people say, are we now justifying his or her behavior? Is it now right to do that? Zuriel just gave us that information that, see, you need to understand where this person is coming from. And if you are able to understand yourself, you will be able to. But at the same time, you don't have to stay there to die. It's so pathetic that the lady finally dies. And you know, this is where the church also comes in. I have been in meetings where the pastor will preach and say, if you want to forgive, come out. Go and you are forgiven. And it's a process, just like you just said, that it's a process. It's not something you do, forgive and forget. It's a process you need to build on. So, and you also mentioned something about forgiving myself, Zuriel. Why do I need to forgive myself? How do I forgive myself? Why? What did you see? It's a person that is erring me, it's a person that has hurt me so badly. Of course, I understand I take two to tango, but I want you to respond to that question. How do I forgive myself?
Okay, so why do I need to forgive myself? Why should I forgive myself? The importance of you forgiving yourself is first and foremost liberating yourself from every guilt, every regret, every shame that you feel that you have encouraged, or everything that you feel that you have done to yourself. So sometimes on our own, we create chaos for ourselves. On our own, by our own self, without any third party, without anyone instigating us, we create chaos for ourselves in our own life. And if you do not forgive yourself, it becomes impossible for you to go on your next journey, on your next step, or for you to take your next big break. Because for every time you hold yourself bound, it becomes impossible for you to see yourself as an amazing person. And it becomes impossible for you to believe yourself. So when you fail to forgive yourself, you would most likely begin to do some other self-sabotaging attitudes or character that may affect you. Because forgiveness breeds bitterness, it brings anger. And for you, unforgiveness brings bitterness, it brings anger. And for you, there'll be no need, you just simply would just want to give up on anything. So you feel you are free to do anything. You feel you are free to attack everybody. But once you are able to understand that, you may have caused this yourself. You may have brought in this pain into your own life by yourself, on your own terms, and you're ready to make right with yourself. The first thing you need to do is to acknowledge that fact that you did it. The next step you need to do is to begin your forgiveness journey. One of the things I try to tell to people when they are doing their own personal forgiveness journey is to say, write a letter to yourself. First and foremost, write a letter to yourself, telling yourself what you did to yourself. Then write a letter to yourself, telling yourself why you need to begin to do right to yourself. Then write another letter to yourself. What are the things that would happen to you after you're forgiving yourself, and the things that you need, the benefit of the things that you need to begin to do to yourself. When I see people do all this and they read it, it brings to their fore how they have unconsciously buried themselves down over time, and how they need to begin to dig themselves up all over again. It's like someone who falls in the mud. You come out of the mud, definitely you know you need to clean yourself. Especially when you are going somewhere, you wash your legs so that your legs is clean and you are able to go to where you are going to. So it's basically stripping yourself of guilt, of pain, of shame, of holding you bound. That is what self-forgiveness brings. And when you are able to have your self-forgiveness, it brings about self-realization, and it brings your own self-work for you. Because you're taking responsibility of yourself. You are not putting the blame on someone else. You are not assuming someone else did it, but you are choosing to take responsibility of yourself. Now, let me talk about why you need to forgive someone else, even though the person has done something very disastrous. Now, I have, over time, I have met people who, I know of someone whose husband was killed. They were trying to take a phone. Young boys were trying to take phone from the husband. And in the process of taking the phone, they collected the phone from him. And the next thing, they stabbed the guy. And he died. When they caught these boys, the police, normally police people, once they find out that the person in question is a very high, is a highly placed person, one of the things they want to do is they want to give justice, take justice straight for that person. So they called the family members, the wife of the deceased, and said to the wife, we can take justice for you. These ones, they don't need to go to court. We can kill them and throw them away. There's just no need for us to take them to court. And this person said, no, don't do that. Take them to court, whatever the judges say, whatever their verdict and the judgment is, let them go. But honestly, I have forgiven them. It was a shock for police people because in a long while, they've not heard anyone say something like that. They've been having people come and they say, please kill them. Don't take them to court. They pay them. But for this particular case, when they heard this, the wife say, I have forgiven them.
let them go. Because if they knew better, they would act better. From the depth of my heart, I have forgiven them. Yes, it is painful that I lost my spouse. They killed my spouse and they took a better half of me away. But I choose to live in peace and bliss, knowing fully well that I am not the cause of death of another soul, even though they are the cause of death of my husband. And my prayers is they are able to come to a self-awareness, conscious awareness of their acts, and they're able to change. That is not easy. It is not easy. So you need to get to a certain place and stage in your life to understand the need of forgiveness, to know that forgiveness is not for that person, it's for you. When you fail to forgive, you would hold your life down. We have had people who have lived in unforgiveness for the rest of their life, and they died bitter, they died shattered, they died unhappy, they died frustrated. They died in pain. And because of their unforgiveness, they lost people, they lost friends, they lost children. They lost children. In their old age, they were alone. No family members, no friend around them. So it is for you, most importantly, not even for the person that has hurt you, because you choose to be responsible for your emotions. You choose to be responsible for your own actions. You choose to be responsible for your progress. You choose to be responsible for your mindset. You choose to be responsible for your emotional bliss and your mental harmony. And you choose not to live in the cage someone else has decided to build and put you in there without your permission. So if someone puts you in a cage that they built by themselves without your permission, you have every right to break down that cage and come out from the cage and begin to own your essence and begin to live your life and begin to enjoy yourself. Because you are not a community, you are you, you are not we. And one other thing that also happens with unforgiveness is when you continuously live in unforgiveness, there's a tendency you will become the person who hurt you. There's a tendency you become the person who hurts you, because when people hurt you, they have unconsciously poured themselves into you. They have poured a part of them into you. They have poured a part of them that is mean, a part of them that is maybe that we call wicked, the part of them that dislikes you, that hates you. They have poured it into you. So if you're not mindful of that fact, you just find yourself becoming them.
Wow. Thank you, Zurel. So if I can hear you clearly, Zurel is saying that you need to forgive yourself so that you can rid yourself of guilt, of resentment, and so that you can take responsibility. From her explanation of the little pain that person went through that has grown into this big outburst, that person is not even aware. So why is not even aware of the cage he or she has created? So why will you now allow yourself to be drawn into that same cage that even him is not aware of it? And this is so deep. We don't want to grow old and be touchy and be aggressive, that your grandchildren will say, no, I don't want to go to that grandma or that grandpa's place. She always shouts. And this is all we are preaching in this environment, this community, saying that even at old age, we are called blessed. Even at old age, we are called blessed. So I saw a question came in by Mavi Okore said, where do we now draw the line between forgiveness and facing the consequences of an action, e.g. crime?
Yes, absolutely. Like what I just gave now, the example I just gave now. These people went to court. They were charged to court, and at the end of the day, they were sentenced. They were sentenced to death by hanging. But however, that is not in the hands of the woman. So, will there be justice? Yes. Forgiveness does not mean there will be no justice when there is a crime. No. As a lawyer, when a crime has been committed, it is not you and it is reported. It is not you against the person. It is the state against the individual that has committed the crime. It is commissioner of police against the individual that has committed the crime. So in as much as you desire justice to take its course, fine, it will take its course. We have had incidents where people have said they don't want to pull. I mean, they are withdrawing from the case. They don't want to fight the case. They are forgiving. Let God judge. So it's individual preference. It's basically individual preference to say, okay, I want justice. Yes, I would forgive you, but I want justice. And there's another group of people that says that I don't want justice. I have forgiven. Let him go. Let God judge it. So that it's your own dynamics on what you want. But should you forgive for you, like I've always said, not even for the person who has caused the damage, not even for the person who has caused the pain, but basically for you, so that you're not in a cage. You know, sometimes some people hurt us and they go, you know, you don't get to see them. They're catching life, they're living life. They're going to parties, they're popping champagne, they're getting married, they're traveling from one country to the other. You that they have offended, you are still stuck. You are stuck. You are stuck there. You can't move. You are there. Nothing is, your life is not changing. Nothing is happening to your life. You are having gray hair all of a sudden. It's not old age that is causing the gray hair. It is the pain. It is the stress of unforgiveness. You are passing a place and they call the person's name. Maybe it is Zuriel that offended you. And they call Zuriel. It is not the Zuriel that offended you that is there, but another Zuriel. The next thing, you just hate me for no reason. I'm not the one that offended you. One thing unforgiveness also does, it makes you transfer a pain, your bitterness, your anger onto someone else who has nothing to do with that pain, with that hurt. Just because you feel the person looks like that person, the person talks like that person, the person smells like that person, the person acts like that person. So there's this unconscious transference of your hurt, your pain, your resentment, your bitterness, your anger from unforgiveness to someone else. And that is itself, it's a major setback, because that is how you begin to create enmity with people who most likely are supposed to be your helpers.
Wow, thank you, Zuriel. So there's another question here. So on the journey of healing, I still find myself freezing in some social settings, maybe from telling myself during the trauma to retreat into my space. How do I get over this? I experienced this in group social settings. Zura, you understand that, where as defense mechanism, you have built that thing to say that when
The
you're
freeze,
just
the flight,
the effects of the amygdala, from the amygdala part of
amygdala
the brain.
hijack. Yes, effect of amygdala hijack. Yes.
Hijack.
Okay,
yes.
so yes, so it means that there's something that triggers this person. And we need to understand what's the trigger. When you are in a social setting, what's the trigger? And until you're able to identify the trigger, it may continue. The freeze, the flight, And you know, you need to also understand what's that trigger. That we need to identify the trigger. Okay, so let me give myself as an
the
example.
fight, flight, and
Yes, the
freeze
the
mode.
fight, the freeze, the
Mode.
fight.
So Zuriel,
So
I want you to also explain those things. Why some people freezes in the face of challenges, some people want to fight back, and some people just take off. These are the reactions to some of those things here.
Okay, so let me explain about the freeze. For the freeze is your shutting down. Is your shutting down, you just shut down completely, and you basically just want to turn your back. So there is the tendency that when someone was growing up, he was always getting shut up, stop it, don't do it. You know, they were always shutting down this individual that even in the face of a fight or in the face of a challenge, rather than teaching this person how to positively face a challenge, how to face a challenge in a positive way, in an empowering way, that would enhance this person, that would bet solution, that would bet out solutions rather than betting out continuous war. What they did was to shut you down and make you feel incompetent in the face of your challenge. So this individual is likely to grow up also, and when there's a challenge, when there's an issue, or when there's an attack, what happens is this person just freezes up. So in the face of a flight, you know, when I hear the flight, I remember this proverb in Yoruba that says that meaning that the goat that ran away, he went to bring fight. It is not every time the goat went to bring power. Some goats know they can't fight. They know they have no power, so they will run away. They will not come to that environment again. They would never come to that environment again till they slaughter them or till they sell them off. So it means that for some people, you are hearing, will you move away from there? Are you the only one? What is wrong with you? Get out from there. Or you're hearing, you're not supposed to be fighting. You're not supposed to use enough. What? Sometimes the actions they give to us engineers us and make us become the people we eventually become when we are faced with a challenge. Then the fight. Somebody who grew up in a place that everything is fight, everything is war, everything is fight, there is war. So even when the person is walking and a dog attacks the person, and this person's amygdala hijack happens, and it is fight that happens, you see that the person will want to fight the dog. It means that this person wants to fight. So for people, they tend to respond to issues according to how they understand issues, or according to how they have been trained to understand issues, and according to how they have been trained to handle issues, or how they on themselves have on their own created ways for themselves to handle issues in their lives. So for this person that just wrote, we need to understand what is the trigger for you that you just freeze. Is it a particular word? Is it the group? Is it the crowd? Is it your perception, your mindset that when you get to a certain place, they're likely to do this to me, they're likely to say this to me, they're likely to respond to me like this? Or on your own, by your own, you have had a conversation with yourself, you have concluded, you are now getting to that venue, or you're now getting to that place, and what they are saying is not what you expected. So we need to understand the trigger. It is when you understand your trigger, then you are able to deal with that aspect that makes you freeze, and we're able to work with it. But most importantly is, what do you want? Do you want to stop freezing?
Thank you. Thank you, Zuriel. Thank you, Zuriel. I want to chip it in at this point. those of us that are parents or parents to be, we need to take note of all those things. These are things we have discussed when we treated topics relating to children, saying that upbringing has its way. And when we talk about upbringing, these are the kind of things we are talking about, saying that the way you shush your children, the way you shut them down, the way you make them see mistakes or failure. When you do that as a young child, you know, the amygdala hijack take place because at that point, their frontal cortex is not well developed. And in that point, the frontal that's where we are able to reason well. And when we keep shutting it down and amygdala hijack keep happening, they are shutting down and they are not able to process situation well. They are not able to process things well. And that is where the fight, flight, and the freeze mood comes in. We are not supposed to handle our children in a way where we now leave them in that situation, where when they now grow up, that is what, because remember, we also used to say that who you are today is as a result of all those things. It's as a result of all those things. Somebody is asking, is it possible to forgive and forget? Is it possible?
So I'm coming. Yes, I'm coming. There's a question that said, Zuria talked about forgiveness and letting the law take its course.
Okay.
So the thing is, the place of the law cannot be thrown away when there is a crime. You are not the law. You are not the police. You are not the courts. You are not the Ministry of Justice. You are the person that has been hurt. And you are the one that says, oh, I want to forgive. However, the place of the law cannot be thrown under the carpet, especially when you want to pursue justice. Forgiveness and justice are two different things. They are standing on two different paths. So as individual, you can choose to bring them together to say, I have forgiven, I don't want justice. And it is now left for you to now go and process that at the police station, now left for you to now go and, you know, sometimes when we have not experienced some certain things, we feel that it is easy. So let me give an example. Yesterday, I got a call about an 8-month-old baby that was defiled by a neighbor. And by the time they even called me, the mother was still unconscious. By the time they called me yesterday, the mom was unconscious. I've not spoken to them this morning. I've only sent them messages. I tried getting them in the middle of the night. The woman was still unconscious. So my prayer is, I hope that woman comes back, you know, because some people are from unconsciousness, go into coma, and passed on. For that woman, the pain in itself is killing. For the child, the pain in itself is killing. The child cannot say, this is what I'm going through. So you have a child that is just crying, bleeding, and all that. If she comes out of unconsciousness, of course, she's already at the police station, and she says, I want to withdraw the case. Fine. But also, the law has a right to say they are going to pursue a case. And especially in Lagos State now, that issues of child sexual abuse and domestic violence is not taken like child's joke anymore. So, and once there are evidences, they can pursue. But the forgiveness process is you. Is you playing your part. Justice process is the court playing its part. But if you don't want justice and you are ready to withdraw, in as much as if it has not gotten to police station, you can say, I'm not going to court, no problem, I'm not going to police station. But once it gets to police station and they go to the court, the person has appeared in court, that is where you now start your process of writing your letter of withdrawal to say, you write your letter of withdrawal to DPP and say, I want to withdraw from this case and all that. So that is a different thing entirely. The question you asked me.
Yeah, before you go to the question I asked you. So when we say justice, I believe that even God will take, justice. Let's leave it. Yoruba say, I don't know how many people understand that. I have been in situation because I don't have threshold for pain. I don't like awkward feelings. So that was why it was difficult for me to really understand what forgiveness is, because I don't hold anybody. But over time, I see people that hurt me so badly, and I look at them. I don't rejoice when something is happening to them, but I just know that, well, because you did it to me and you felt you can go scot-free, they try it with another person and it's not easy for them, you know. I see that as God fighting for me. Or what do you think, Zuriel?
Yes. So for every act done, there's a consequences to it. There's the physical consequences and there's the divine consequences. Sometimes when people do you bad and they do you wrong and they hurt you so well, and sometimes you're saying, I'm leaving them for God, and you know, I'm leaving that person for God, and you're expecting God to hammer that person immediately, God to beat the person should lose their job, the person should do something. Yes, definitely. So God, it may not happen. God may not do it. God may not even damage the person. God may not even do with God may not strike the person as they're expecting that God to strike the person. But you know that nature has a way in itself of either making people to realize what they have done and recalibrating them, taking them on a journey. So sometimes it gets to the point where people on their own, by their own self, realize that they have done you damage, they have done you wrong, and they come to meet you to beg for forgiveness. And sometimes they come to meet you to say to you that, because sometimes for some people's mindset, they feel like it's what they have done to you that is making them to suffer one kind huge suffer. So maybe somebody lost his job 3 months after hurting you, and this person is coming to meet you. Please, I'm sorry, forgive me. Well, I've lost my job. One question you want to even ask this person: were you even competent at your job? Were you doing the right thing at your place of work? So basically, I think that it is individual preference to decide what kind of justice you want. But there are some cases, I would say, basically, if it gets to court, even if you are going to do withdrawal of your case, that person may be in awaiting trial since. I know someone that has been on awaiting trial since 2012. Even though the family member that this person did wrong to have said, we don't have anything to do, we have removed our hand, and they've never gone to court before. But because it's a murder case, this person is still in the prisons. So somebody asked about, how do I forget?
Yeah, somebody said, is it possible to forgive and forget? Then somebody is saying that he or she is going around the cycle because she forgives easily, but forgetting is not so easy. Yeah, before we go to that question, PF is saying something about, okay, the Yoruba adage. Thank you for putting this balance to it, that it's better we confront the issue and deal with it, because it actually promotes helplessness. True. So, and many are not healed. Thank you very much for that balance. So Zira, you can respond to that question of forgiveness, forgiving and forgetting.
Okay, so you may not forget. You may not forget what someone has done to you, depending on the severity of what that person has done to you. However, putting a different narrative, seeing it in a different way, rather than seeing it as pain, rather than allowing it to continuously damage you, may make a whole lot of difference for you. So example is somebody does something very bad to you, today's Saturday, and by Tuesday, you are forgiving the person. But by Wednesday, it does not mean that thing has gone off. By Wednesday, it is still there. By next year, July, it is still there. Because it's our memory. Our memory has a way. Our memory has a way of taking in things, and it has a way of storing it. So there's a tendency that when you see this person, you would still remember what this person did to you, but how you feel when you see the person is what makes a whole lot of difference. I can tell you for a fact that I can still remember what someone did to me 10 years ago. But the thing is, how I feel today is totally different from how I felt 10 years ago. Thank you, Kemi Odutayo, for that. There is a pain on us. We got ourselves injured and we have a scar. Not all scars fade away. Not all scars fade away. Some scars are there as a reminder for us of what happened to us so that we do not make the same mistakes that brought that scar to us. I have a bite mark. I have a teeth. Someone beats me here, and if I tell you the years it happened, what this bite scar does to me is it's a reminder for me never to get physical with anyone. Even though I feel that I can beat the person may have a weapon that I don't have. I will never fight you and bite you. No, because I love my teeth too much for me to put my teeth on your skin. But some other person does not mind. They will bite you. Someone day before yesterday bit off the finger of a road, one of these traffic warding people, and even swallowed the finger. So I have learned to use the scar on me as a reminder. But over the years, I have learned to see the scar as an empowering mark for me. So you may not forget. But when you remember, how do you feel? That is the most important thing. What lessons have you learned? What lessons are you picking out from what was done to you? How do you hope to act differently, respond differently to issues, respond differently, and put yourself at a place of bliss when issues occur?
Who you are becoming in the process of forgiveness. You know, Zurel, when she started, she said, it's not a one-off thing, it's a process. So who you are becoming, when you remember, when you see the scar, who are you becoming? When you remember, how do you respond? Then you are no more reacting, right? Is that what you're saying, Zurel? Saying that when you're on the journey of forgiveness, yes, there's a restructuring that takes place in your thought pattern that helps you change the perspective of how you see that thing. And that is why when you see the scar or when you hear the person's name, you don't react. You can just smile about it and say, oh, thank God for where I am today. Because if that did not happen, I wouldn't know that I need to do this. I wouldn't know that I'm supposed to do this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Zurel. This topic of forgiveness is so deep. There's another question in the box. It says, in the process of conflict resolution, if someone hurts you and you take a position, but the person is unable to realize the hurt, saying that the person is hurting you and the person is not even aware that and still wants to be in your space, and instead claims you hurt them, saying that you are the one that now hurts me. What do you do? I have seen situations. So I want to buttress that question. Zurel, situation where you said that we're not supposed to, when we started, you said something about how do we react to all those things? Are you aware? Do you know that it's a mistake? Because there are times that you said it, there are times that at the end of the day, you can now be the one that is being blamed for. I think that's what this person is talking about. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so basically, some people are not even aware they're hurting you because they themselves are hurt personified.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They themselves are hurt personified, so they are not even aware. They cannot but in them, in their inner man, there is no bliss, there is no harmony. So it is a norm for them to hurt you because they also hurt themselves, so they are not aware of it. However, like somebody wrote, your territory. Do you want a continuous damage of you by someone? And I think I saw PF wrote something, visa, granting someone a visa into your home, into your space. If you continuously grant someone the visa to continue hurt, to continuously hurt you, to continuously cause you pain, you end up becoming pain, and you end up giving that person pain. So you want to look at this person. We are on a journey of mediation, and this person is still hurting you, is still causing you damage. What do you want? You as a person, what do you want? Do you want peace or you want war? If you want peace, then you should know that there are steps you need to take with this person. Now, let me also say this, that you are forgiving someone does not mean that that person has to come into your space. That I have forgiven you, you offended me, you took away, in fact, you drained out of my essence. That I have forgiven you does not mean that I need to allow you back into my space. We can be friends from afar. We may be friends, we may not be friends, but it is me, it is about me. It is about me building my home around my body, entering my space, enjoying my space, and knowing that when there is a conflict with me, when there's a war with me, it is me that is causing that conflict and war, not an outsider allowing it to come into me. Not an outsider allowing that person, not giving space to that person. Because sometimes we still continuously open doors for people who consistently, consciously, deliberately, intentionally hurt us. We still continuously open the door for them to come in. And when they do that to us, we start saying, they have started again, oh, they've done it again, oh, they've done it again. So basically, it does not mean that so somebody said, I don't think emotional and verbal hurt is a crime. It's not a crime. It's not a crime, but it's an offense. It's not a crime, but it's a personal crime. It's not a crime in the law, but it's a crime. It's a personal crime that can lead an individual to commit suicide. It's not a crime in the law per se, verbal crime, emotional crime, but it's a crime that can lead a person, in fact, you are inflicting an individual harm that can lead the person to become depressed, to commit suicide. The woman I said committed suicide last year was not beaten by her husband. The husband did not beat her. It was an emotional abuse, it was verbal abuse that made her to commit suicide. So what you can take and accept and absorb, someone else may not have the capacity to take it. Somebody who grew up in a home that is bliss, that is happiness, they never told the person you are mad, they never told the person you are a foolish person, you are incompetent, suddenly gets married to someone that is saying you are incompetent, you are foolish, you are useless, you are need. How do you think the person will feel? So basically, it leads people to do what they are not meant to do. And that is why you have the Lagos State Domestic Violence Center. So the domestic violence is not just to beat. Every form of abuse that can damage your emotional well-being, your mental harmony, you can be charged for it. People have filed for divorces on the grounds of emotional abuse. People have filed for divorce on the grounds of verbal abuse. If it is abroad, you can go to jail for it, because that is when psychiatrists will bring their reports psychoanalysis report. Oh, this person had a mental breakdown. Oh, she had to start seeing a psychiatrist. She had to start doing this. She had to start doing that. So people get depressed.
Thank you.
Next question.
Thank you, Zuriel. Thank you, Zuriel. Before we go to the next question, I see that this issue of the person keep hurting me, is still coming up in the chat box. I want to bring in Walter here. I want to bring up Walter now to let's hear his perspective. After that, Zuriel, you will now talk about how do we go on the journey of forgiveness. Do I still have Walter Samuel in the house? Walter, are you still there? Awesome.
Yes,
wonderful.
yes, I'm still here.
Yeah. Thank you, Walter. Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, so I want you to want to hear your perspective about this issue of, and the person keeps hurting me and still wants to be in my space. The person is not aware that he's hurting me, and he keeps doing it. I know this is where setting boundaries and all comes in, but how do you think we can handle that?
First of all, I would like to say this has been an amazing session. Thank you, Zuriel, for that. For trashing this clearly, in a way that we can have a better grasp of this. Forgiveness is one of the key things. I tell people that one of the reasons why I have been given life for the past couple of years was because I started an intentional journey into forgiveness. And forgiveness is dimensional. It's not just personal, it's also relational. So it's key that we pay attention to that. And before I respond to that question, I would first like to begin to just pick up some points and just give a dimension to it. So Zuriel talked about awareness when it comes to forgiveness, and really awareness is critical. Then she talks about awareness being a process. So I'm going to just talk a little, maybe 1 minute each, and then we move on. First of all, I'll begin by saying, I learned forgiveness first from my family, but what I learned from my family was lack of forgiveness, initially. So I learned a lot of lack of forgiveness from family. It started with my grandmom. I think my grandmom was one of the persons that really demonstrated a lot of lack of forgiveness. Now, it's not like because she was a bad person, that was the best she could do with what she knew. She got married to my grandfather. They started life together. Things were going very fine. Some things happened. My grandfather got some other wives, and my grandfather died in 1979. But, my grandmother died in the year 2010. That's about 31 years or something. Growing up, I will regularly hear my grandmom remember what my grandfather did to her by marrying other wives. And she was always feeling very bad about it. It was a pain point. It was that kind of event that she couldn't let go of. It drained her. Sometimes it was like an earthquake that happened to her reality, to her life. And I saw how that really never helped her. So there were patches, there were times where she will be free and okay, but once that memory comes in, once some events triggers, some activating events come up, you know what happens? She just goes back, and that was her life. Really, I would say she didn't have an amazing life after then, and it was tough. And we grew up with that, knowing that. And then there were other incidents personally, that happened, like the loss of my uncle who slept with me. And then the next day he went out, he was killed. And I had to think about how to forgive and a lot of things. So I started my journey from those particular areas before it also became personal. And I realized that I personally also held myself in some areas where I couldn't really forgive myself, some areas where I was guilty of doing some things, some areas where I was disappointed by some of the mistakes I had made in life, and a couple of things. So I realized that forgiveness was not something you do only for things that happen out there or things that other people do, but it's also something that happens to you. And then that led me to understand that there are 3 levels of awareness when it comes to forgiveness. There's the contracted awareness space, where you are in the frame, where you're the one in the frame, so you can't even see what's in the frame because you're the one in the frame. At contracted awareness, you're totally surrounded by the experience that you can't see beyond that experience. So I see a lot of people who, like the question you're even asking, it's a form of contracted awareness. So the person feels that, okay, this thing is still occurring. So that means they are in a state, they are in that state where this event is still occurring. And at that point, forgiveness has not happened. You know, when forgiveness really happens, there is what is called a transition. When forgiveness happens, there's a transition. Now, from the state of contracted awareness, where all you are aware of is the activating event, the pain, the situational disturbance that's caused by those events, you can move to the state of expanded awareness, which is the second stage in the transition of forgiveness. Expanded awareness is that space where what you begin to experience is other possibilities that can happen despite that particular event, despite even the event reoccurring. You know, despite that old event or despite the reoccurring event, what other spaces of awareness can I begin to pay attention to? This gives you options. This gives you choice. The challenge many people are having when it comes to forgiveness is that they don't have options. They don't have choice. And then the third state is what you do with the options, which is what we call strategic awareness. Because forgiveness is not the main thing. The question is, why do you want to forgive? You know, our minds work better when we have a why. You know, why do I want to forgive? And why you want to forgive pops up at the strategic awareness level. So quickly, what I want to just say to us is to understand that the awareness happens at 3 different dimensions. Contracted awareness, where you are stuck in that particular situation and circumstance. Expanded awareness, where you now are beginning to pay attention to the options. And then strategic awareness, where you can now begin to say, you know what, so which specific space within this expanded frame can I begin to occupy that will give me what I want out of this experience? You know, it was Oprah Winfrey that says, you will have only forgiven someone truly when you can say thank you for that experience. And at that strategic awareness level, it's the level where you're saying, you know what, this experience has given me power. So quickly, because I don't have so much time, I will also go into the process. Now, for us to have a process of forgiveness, we have to have a source of power that can push us through the process. The challenge I have with a lot of people today is they want to know the process, but they don't have the power to push the process. You know, and the power that helps you push the process of forgiveness is personal power. It's personal power. So there's something we call the PPM metrics, the personal power model metrics, which basically helps you to discover where you are. See, you can't forgive if you don't have the power to forgive. You can't. It's not possible. It cannot happen. You must develop the power. And the power comes by basically 4 things. You know, there are 4 things that help you bring that power. We call them the 4 brackets of power. The first power is the power of your thinking. You know, the first power is the power of your thinking. The second power is the power of your emotions, the power of feeling. How powerful are you? How powerful can you use your emotions in this particular dimension of forgiveness? The third level is your communication, whether communicating to yourself or communicating to others. Is that right? How much power do you derive from that? How much profit? I use the word profit a lot. How much profit do you derive from that? And then the fourth one, which is action, because forgiveness is an action. Is that right? Forgiveness is an action. It's not a passive thing. It's something that you do. So quickly, you check yourself at the level of your thinking. Are you at the level of thinking where forgiveness could be something that will help you gain profit? If forgiveness will not help you gain profit at the level of thinking, then you can't even forgive. That's why you see a lot of relapse. A lot of people who say, I forgive, I can't forget, I did. So all of that is coming because you don't have power. You have not gotten power, because when you have power, you can be able to move. So part of what I tell people for you to gain power is to begin to know where you are at the level of thinking, where you are at the level of your emotions, whether your emotions are using you or you are using your emotions to make profit out of life or to run at a loss. Your communication, and then the fourth part is your action. Now, when you check that area, then you check your relational dimension. This challenge of forgiveness, is it all pervasive or is it specific to some kinds of relationships? Now, there are 5 relational dimensions that I tell people you want to pay attention to, whether those relational dimensions are drains to you or they are gains to you. The first one is family. You know, for some challenges, forgiveness at the family level. But let me not take so much of our time. So I think with this framework, it's going to be a bit useful so that we understand that forgiveness is a process, but it has to be powered. Forgiveness has levels of awareness, and forgiveness is possible. At the end of the day, forgiveness is the gateway to the new life you desire. Thank you so much.
Forgiveness is the gateway to the new life you desire. While you're writing your New Year resolution, before you start doing that, before you start preparing for that new year, forgiveness is the gateway to that new life. Zuriel said it. Forgiveness helps you to own your essence. You're able to operate at the utmost level if you live in forgiveness. Thank you so much, Walter. Thank you for the sources of power and the level of awareness you're given. And I want to believe that for those asking questions based on he keeps hurting me and all, you know that that person is not even aware at all. And that is why the person will keep doing what Zuriel also illustrated that with that example. You know, pressure is a revealer. It is the pent-up anger that is inside. Thank you so much, Walter. Really appreciate that. Please, I want you to drop how people can reach you in the chat box in case we have people in the house that may want to relate with you. Now, over to you, Zuriel. So now we are getting towards the end of the meeting. This topic is such a big one. It's such a great one. And it seems to me that we have to treat this topic again. I think we will have to do it again because it's so deep and it's so emotional. Even though Zuriel said whatever emotion we feel, it's okay to feel that way. We don't want to go into 2022 feeling terrible, holding people bound, living in resentment, unforgiveness, hurting, because we want to enter the new year with new life and winning and winning in all aspects of our life. Thank you so much, Zuriel. Thank you so much, Walter. Zuriel, over to you. While you answer that, I also want you to prepare us for the process you want to take us through, because I remember when you were talking about forgiveness, you said you need to understand what that person has gone through. So before you take us through the process of healing, you need to understand that we have gone through a lot so that we can key into it and we will not just act along. We want this session to be a fruitful one. We want it to be a transformational one. Thank you, Zuriel. What are the process? How can we go on this journey? How can we go on this journey?
Yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, one of the things I tend to ask myself when people hurt me, like I said, there are things people would do and they would not matter to you. They would make no meaning to you. You just move on. But there are certain things some people would do and it will hit you. And that's why I always say to people, understand yourself. Understand yourself to the extent that you do not get to that point where you're comparing yourself with someone else. So that someone else went through a certain pain that you went through, and you saw that person bouncing back up on that within 24 hours or within 6 months, and you also want to bounce back like the person, you really don't know what that person has done, or you really don't know how that individual has been wired. So I say to people, understand yourself when there is a pain. Know the effect of that pain on you. Know the effect on you. Know what the pain has the capacity to make you become, or what it has make you to become already. So you're looking at yourself. Let me give an example. You know very well that at your place of work, maybe at your place of work, you're supposed to be promoted. You were sure that this promotion is yours. And all of a sudden, the promotion comes out and they give someone else that promotion. And you know it is your boss that did that. After he has given you the green light, he has made you feel as if, oh, you're going to get this promotion. Definitely that would be traumatic for anyone. It will be painful because you have looked at you're already analyzing the next salary that is coming in, the things you would do, how you would want to enjoy yourself. But all of a sudden, someone just cut short that dream away from you, or they denied you that dream. One thing you want to ask yourself is the effect of this on me. How is it going to affect my work? How will this pain affect me in my home? How will it affect my relationship with my wife, with my children, with my family members? Then how is it going to affect me as an individual? If you're able to take the analysis of the effect of the pain on you, and you realize that it's going to be very damaging and extremely disastrous, not just on the people around you, but on you first and foremost, what you want to do is you want to first recline to a place where you are able to process what happened. Sometimes, and I tend to say to people, you also need to be very truthful to yourself. Is there a possibility that you unconsciously or consciously also we were part of that pain? How did you contribute to the pain? Because sometimes we put all the pain on someone. Oh, they caused me damage, they caused me pain. How did you also contribute to this pain? If it is a relational pain, if it is a relational hurt, if it's work environment, was there something you also did that triggered this person, that in turn made this person to come hurt you? And one of the most simplest thing I tend to say to people to do, one of the most simplest thing I do is first and foremost apologize to myself, then apologize to that person, even though the person is not there. So I may not come to meet you and say to you, I am sorry. I may not say to you physically, I am sorry, because I'm still hurting. But there's a way I apologize to you for my own place of awareness that I may have also unconsciously triggered you for you to do this. And once I'm able to do that, I write a letter to myself. I have piles of letter I write to myself. Maybe I stopped writing letter some years back, but I write a letter to myself and stating what I want for myself, because it is about me. What do you want? If I have, so let me do this. Now I will assume I have two balloons in my hand. This is Zuriel. I'll call the first balloon Zuriel. I call this balloon Zuriel. Now, what I want with myself, I ask myself, what are the things you want? How do you want to see yourself after this pain? What are the things? How do you want to be engineered? Do you want this to determine you? Do you want to continue to live in pain, in anger, and every other thing? Do you want to become the person you're not meant to become? Because what I do is, how do now I start begin to emit myself? So it is either I release gradually. Now, this is my journey of awareness. This is my process of speaking to myself, taking conscious account of what was done to me, understanding that it is me, it is my pain. I am releasing the hair gradually. I am taking my journey of forgiveness, why I need to forgive, why I need to hold my space, why I need to begin myself, why I need to open a new chapter. I have released, and I have released wholesomely. I have released wholesomely without damaging myself, without damaging the people around me. Or I choose to release that way. When I release this way by busting, I have become that person that hurts me. When I release this way by busting, I would hurt other people around me. I would hurt myself the more because I've shattered myself. So it now means that I have to now go back to start rebuilding myself. Sometimes it may never be possible for me to rebuild myself because look at this balloon. It is in pieces, scattered. But look at this one. It is wholeness. So who do I want to be? This or this? When I am damaged, when people hurt me, when people wreck me, do I want to release to that point that I am like this, hold back? Then I can begin to build myself back, understanding that it is all about me, or I become like this, where I start looking for interventions all about who will rebuild me. And remember, sometimes in rebuilding ourselves, we may never get ourselves like this because the patches will be there. The patches will be there. The pains will be there. And it will be that we are starting all over again. But with this, I can consciously begin to pull back wholeness, joy, bliss, amazingness, power. Pull back everything empowering. That when I start releasing again, I am releasing those amazing things back to the world. I am releasing it to my environment. I'm releasing it to myself. And I become conscious of the people around me and of the things I allow into me. That is me opening a new chapter for myself. That is me writing back my story. That is me giving myself a new lease back to life. That is me recreating the existence of me that was destroyed, that was taken away. That is me pumping back my essence, owning my essence, loving myself, but also understanding that there are humans out there that have the capacity to do the same thing that this person has done to me, to hurt me all over again. I want to take me back to where I was coming from, but never forgetting that there's a place of wholeness, there's a place of joy. I can go back, feel it in, and take it back onto myself. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Zuriel. Thank you so much. That is powerful. That is powerful. Saying that the way you handle it, it's a process. It does not come easily, but you need to put yourself, be intentional to say that what energy do you want to emit into the society? What do you want people around you? How do you want them to see you? Do you want to burst and explode, damaging yourself and damaging everybody around you? Remember, we are on a journey of creating and starting our own village, where peace, tranquility is the order of the day. And this we have also done by introducing the Ready for Life program for the children that is ongoing. And today is the third Saturday. And just as we are growing, we want to pull our children along. And you are going through all this teaching, all this learning every month so that you can be healed and be able to raise children that are whole. You don't want to raise damaged children.
Ebon.
Yes.
Somebody asked a question. I think Akindimeji asked a question.
Okay. In the case of family relationship, how do you systematically allow your significant other into your space again? It is not because you have not forgiven, but you just want to use your energy right due to the fact that you're still seeing the red flags. Yeah. Zuriel, do you?
Okay, so for this individual, it Is your significant other, one, is this person aware of what this person is costing you, which is one. Two, is a person ready to go in for therapy, to go in for counseling, to even know why they're acting this way? Because sometimes what we see is the branches. We see the branches. We are not seeing the root cause of why a significant other is behaving in a certain way. We are not seeing it. Sometimes we may even be our significant other unconscious trigger for why they are behaving in a certain way. So I think you, as the one who wants your significant other back into your space because you are forgiving, but you're also seeing this red flag. I think you should have a discussion with your significant other. And because this is what you want bliss, you want harmony in the home. And if you want that, you also need to help this person get to the place where they would see it, and they may need to go for help. Because you may not be the best person to help your significant other to unearth that aspect of them that is giving you that red flag. So this person may need help. And the person showing this red flag may be a sign of, I need help. But the person may not even be saying it. The person may not even know they need help. But that red flag to you is an unconscious cry of saying, I need help. I want to be helped. Thank you.
Zuriel, I also want you to mention, I also want you to answer this question in the other way, that is it possible that you just feel you're forgiven, or you are also emitting a negative energy that the significant other is also seeing? And say, oh, this person, I don't think this person is other. You know, is it possible?
Say it again, I didn't get that.
So I am saying that, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I am saying that it's also possible that you are the one that think you are ready, you're forgiven, and your significant other is also seeing a red flag, saying that it doesn't look like this person is ready because this person is still doing this, and this. In that situation, how do you think that person can? Yeah, because it is possible that
I think
both of you are forgiven, and you think you're forgiving the person, you think you are the one that is okay. You know, when Pierre is talking about helplessness, I understand that, because there's a way we want to come out with the imposter syndrome to say, it's not me, it's this person. You know, we can do that too. So what do you think in that situation?
So I think this is where both of them would need to go for help. Because sometimes when we think we are behavior-wise, we are not the one at fault, it's the other person. Sometimes you may both need to go for help so that you are able to identify that. That's as I said, that you may also be the trigger. You may also be the unconscious trigger for your spouse. So if you want bliss, if you want peace, so you should be ready to invest yourself in getting that bliss for your home. And you also need to understand what is truly forgiveness. Because if I ask you, oh, okay, so you said you are forgiving. So how do you know you are forgiving? How do you treat someone that you are forgiving? Because with forgiveness comes with a form of empathy. With forgiveness comes a form of understanding. It comes with a whole lot of awareness. So how do you think you are forgiving? So you may also want to get help. You both need to go out, because when you're not able to work through it on your own, then it means that you both need professional help to help you with that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like Walter said, when he was talking about the sources of your power, you need to get your power back. You need to understand the power of your thinking, your emotion, your communication. Communication, very important. And with what Zuriel said, mindfulness, you need to be empathic to understand. Thank you so much. And like I was saying before we raised that question, we are ready for you at the office in our organization. And we have brought up the issue of Ready for Life for the children. We also have the Releasing Your Personal Power, which is a 13 weeks program by Praise Forward International. Praise Forward himself will be the one that will handle that. You might want to subscribe to it. And the link is in the chat room already, www.iampraiseforward.com/aliens. You need to understand that you need to get your personal power. Walter said that the source of your power to push you before you can start the journey of forgiveness. You need to own your power. You need to have the push to that process, and your power is what you need to have the push to the process. And we have this course coming up. It's a 13-week course, Releasing Your Personal Power. You might want to visit that link that is in the chat room. We also have the Ready for Life program that is for children. We are running the free session presently. We're going to run it throughout the month of September. Yeah, thank you very much. Fola Shade Femilawa said, Ready for Life is a fantastic program. Thank you very much. It's been an awesome journey with the children. I told you we have about 300 and something children in the house presently, and we still have another class today. So thank you very much, Fola Shade, for attesting to that. We also have a program. If you're dealing with addiction, kindly join our anonymous session. That one started on last week, Sunday. This Sunday, that's tomorrow, we're going to have another session where we have people struggling with different forms of addiction. You can also log in by, you can register using this link in the chat room, www.iampraiseforward.com/speak. SPIT there means Solution Providers in Training. We don't call it addiction. We don't call you an addict. We call you Solution Providers in Training, believing that by the time you get over the addiction, you become saviors to others. You help others to heal because you understand that process. You know, Walter was able to explain that process of forgiveness because he had gone through the process. He was able to explain it. If you go through this course, this training of Solution Providers in Training program, you're equipped to help others heal from their addiction, recover from their addiction. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for staying till this time. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Cyril, for joining. Thank you, Walter. And now we go into our healing session. Zurel, how long is that going to take?
Just a few minutes.
Okay, so it's just for a few minutes. Just for a few minutes. I want us to speak up. If you can enable your camera, please do that so that we can see you. We can see how you're flowing along at the session, with the session. Everyone, I can see the chat room buzzing. So Zurel, over to you.
Okay. Can we all just take a deep breath? Let's just take a deep breath. Can we just take a deep breath? Just take a deep breath. Breathe in, just take a deep breath. Then you breathe out. Take another deep breath. Then you breathe out. Take another deep breath. Then you breathe out. I just want you to take a very few seconds to think about yourself. Just think about yourself. Take a very few seconds and just think about yourself. Don't think of anyone. Think about you. Just you. Put your focus on you alone. Just put your focus on you. Silently whisper your name, your first name. Just silently whisper your name. Just your name. Silently just whisper your name. Call your name again. Just call your name again. Take another deep breath. Take another deep breath. Breathe out. Now, when I say you should take another deep breath and I ask you to breathe out, you breathe in with your nose, from your nostril, you breathe out from your mouth. And as you breathe out from your mouth, you call your name. Take another deep breath. Breathe out. Think of that thing, of that person you want to become. Think of that person you want to become. I want you to think of that person you want to become. As you think of that person you want to become, I want to think of the pain that you have held in your heart the longest. I want to think of the pain you have held in your heart the longest. For some people, it is a disappointment. It is not that someone hurts you. It's not that someone hurts you. It's just a disappointment. For some people, it is you that disappointed yourself. Life will not give to you the things that would make your journey easy. Sometimes life will put into us people who would damage us. And the truth about it is, your pain is not even meant to make you strong. Your pain, the disappointment, the hurt you receive from people, basically, we're all meant to break you. They were meant to destroy you. They were meant to keep you down. They were meant to make you feel incompetent. They were meant to make you not believe in yourself. They were meant to make you not to have dreams, aspirations. They were meant to make you feel like a failure. They were meant to make you not believe in humanity. But the narrative and the change in perspective of all those things lies in your hands. There are some things that are within your control. There are some things that are not within your control. The things that are not within your control, if you permit them, and if you try to as much as possible to want to control them, you will remain bound. You are not within the control of other people's emotions and other people's actions. You are only within the framework of your own control, of your own actions, and not that of someone else. So when you choose to forgive either yourself or that person who has hurt you, you are giving yourself a divine gift that no one else can give to you. No one can give you forgiveness. No one can give you forgiveness as a gift. You will choose to give yourself forgiveness as your own personal gift. And when you are able to give yourself forgiveness as a gift, you are saying to yourself, I am better than the person who hurt me. I am more competent. I understand where I'm coming from. I know where I'm going to. I understand my why. I know my how. And I know my what. You break the chains and the cage of pain, of trauma, of unforgiveness, of bitterness, of anger, of rejection, of denial, of resentment. The day you stand up and you look at yourself, and I say to you, and say to yourself, I give back myself that audacity that was taken away from me. I give back myself the power that was taken away from me, or the power I never knew I had. I give it to myself. I learn to recreate it. I learn to recreate it, and I learn to build it up. Humans will be humans. There's a tendency that as you are forgiving one today, another one is picking up tomorrow. But there's something that is always constant. It is how you choose, you decide to respond. How you choose, you decide to see yourself. Your why, your what, your how are your personal narratives. I have spoken. Walter has spoken. Praise has spoken. Ebo has spoken. Every other person has spoken. What we have done is we have put you in a car. We have started the engine. The drive is in your hands. We will not accelerate the car for you. We will not change the gear for you. To change the gear, to accelerate the car, to press the brake at the right time, to make your turns, to make your stop, to understand the traffic light is in your hands. And that is your journey of life. Living in unforgiveness is you putting yourself in your own personal prison and throwing away the keys. People may have hurt you deeply. You may have hurt yourself deeply by the things you have done to yourself. But I've come to say to you, what has happened to you are like mountains for you to climb on. They are like shoulders for you to stand on. Your story is your story. My story is my story. Open a new chapter today. Open a new book today. Open your awareness today. Open your wholeness today. Open that door that no one has the capacity to open for you, and walk into that door. And choose to love the key. Choose to honor the key. Choose to keep the key precious, so that no one can struggle that key with you anymore. I don't know who may have hurt you. And I don't know if it's you that has hurt yourself. But I want you to just hug yourself. Kindly hug yourself. Hug yourself. Are we hugging ourselves? Just hug yourself. Hug yourself. And please say after me. You can unmute and say after me. You can unmute. Call your name. Zuriel, call your name.
Adams.
You are too amazing to be held down. Repeat after me.
I'm too amazing. To be held down.
You have so many potentials in you.
You have so many potentials in you.
To allow someone else to determine your potentials.
To allow someone else to determine your potential.
You own your essence.
You own your essence.
You are dynamic. Say, I am dynamic.
I am dynamic.
I am amazing.
I am amazing.
I am awesome.
I am awesome.
I love me.
I love me.
I am so much in me. I am so much in love with me.
I am so much in
love with me.
To give someone else the ability.
To give someone else the ability.
To control. To determine. My emotions.
My emotions.
My emotions are perfect.
My emotions are perfect.
They are valid. However, I choose to operate in the empowering emotions.
I choose.
So you can silently, do not shout. If there's anyone you are holding, if there's anyone that has held you bound, if there's anyone that you are battling unforgiveness with, you can just silently whisper the person's name. And if it is yourself, silently just whisper your name. Don't shout it, just silently just whisper it. And say after me, I choose this day. I choose this minute. I choose this second to release myself from you. To break the cage that you have put me into, or that I've put myself into. To break the cage. And I start living my life wholesomely. I choose to forgive. Because I love me too much to hold myself bound. Hug yourself, say beautiful things about yourself. Just hug yourself and say beautiful things about yourself. Hug yourself and say beautiful things about yourself. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself, love yourself, honor yourself. Just say beautiful things about yourself. Say beautiful things about yourself. Say beautiful things about yourself. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate somebody that is here. Celebrate somebody. Celebrate somebody.
I celebrate you. I celebrate you all. Thank you.
Nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, oh, I believe. I know I can count on you. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up. Rise up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That is so amazing. That is so amazing. That is so amazing. That is so amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Zuriel. Thank you. Powerful session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for investing this time into your life. This is the best gift you can give yourself. Go ahead and take over the world. Go ahead and own your essence. Beautiful one. And this is going to be the last family meeting for the year 2021. Yeah, it's a beautiful one, but we're going to have celebration. We're going to have virtual celebration, and we're going to communicate this to you via the email. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. It's such a beautiful way to end November, and I really appreciate and celebrate your freedom. I celebrate your healing. I celebrate your essence, because you're taking over all over. Thank you, Savior. You know that nobody goes through this and remain the same. We are going to have a beautiful community. We are going to have a beautiful world as saviors, and our children are going to take over the world. Thank you once again.
Please, I need to leave. I need to leave. I'm going to prepare for an event. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank you so much, Zuriel. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we have the Ready for Life meeting at 3 p.m. West African time with our children. Then tomorrow we have the House of Saviors. Tomorrow evening we have the Solution Provider in Training program. We don't want to let the society define who we are. We are taking the world with our whole hand. We want to be trailblazers. We want to be world changers, and this is what we are. This is what we stand for at Center for Sex and Family Life. Please feel free to reach out to us. You can respond, or you can send a mail via the email you received the link. You can just send an email to us using that same email, info@familycenter.org.ng. You can also reach me directly, and via WhatsApp you can. So I think Praise PF dropped my phone number in the chat box. Then presently we are running a campaign. We are trying to get donations to help children in public primary schools, and we want to empower them with a Super Kids book, which is majorly to teach them how to identify predators and how to deal with the predators around them. So you can also click on that link in the chat box to donate. There's a link in the chat box that you can click on it and it takes you to a place where you make the donation. With 2,500 naira, you're able to save one soul. Please let us do this. We just learned that the accumulated pain are the ones that go when they now become adults, they now cannot handle it because of the accumulated pain. We want to help them deal with the pain now. We don't even want some of them to experience it. It is better not to experience. It's too expensive to experience child abuse. And this is why we're doing this, so as to help them. Thank you very much once again. Thank you for your time. I'm sure you know that it is worth it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm trying to read the comments. Thank you very much. You're invited to join a prayer session. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes, celebrate yourself. Fantastic session. Thank you very much, Family Center, and our own very own Zuriel. If you want to reach Zuriel, I own my essence on Instagram. Yeah, that's where to reach Zuriel. I celebrate you all for taking your destiny into your own hands. You are now in the driver's seat. Yes, we are now in the driver's seat of our life. Please feel free to reach us. Please feel free to reach us. We will help hold your hands. If you want us to hold your hands, yes, we can hold your hands on this journey. We'll hold your hands on this journey. And please feel free to reach us, 08039324145. 08039324145. Yeah, is it possible to get the recording? Yes, we're sending the recording to everybody that registered. That's what we do every month. We have the recordings of all our sessions. So if you registered or you want to drop your email address, please do that right away in the chat box so that we can send the replay. Thank you, Yemi Olusono. Thank you so much. Wow, first time joining. Oh, this has been time spent, well spent and invested. Yes. Thank you for joining, Yemi. Thank you for joining. Okay. Yes, please drop your email so that we can send details. We'll send the recording to you. Yeah, drop your email in the chat box. Somebody is harvesting it. We have beautiful programs. Yeah, if you drop your email, Esther will send the replay to you. It was recorded. Oh, thank you for joining, Oludikwe.